Are you freaking serious? No, really. Oh, that's right. You are serious. Oh, dear God. I know over half the country right now has really swallowed a lot of stupid pills, but this is a whole new level. Dear God. Hello, friends. Welcome to my channel, and this video is about a recent bit of news in the last, week that's been going on. How Sylvester Stallone, after the election where Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump, Sylvester Stallone called Donald Trump the second George Washington. What? Once again, this goes to show just how much we in America do not even know our own history. So this video is going to give you the actual true story and history of General and President George Washington, and how there is no way these two men have anything in common, and how Donald Trump should not be even in any way, shape, or form connected to George Washington in no fashion whatsoever. And before you get mad at me saying, how dare you do a video about this? Yes, how dare I open a history book? And also, this goes back to a problem, a bigger problem. That I'm going to use a quote from a famous show called Doctor Who, where the fourth Doctor said in an episode, he said, the very powerful and the very stupid have one thing in common. They do not alter their views to fit the facts. Oh no, they alter the facts to fit their views. I'm giving you facts, and you're mad about it. That's what's really happening. I'm going to give you facts, and you're mad about it. So here come the facts. George Washington was a Virginian born to the British colony of Virginia, which was a slave state, a slave colony, if you will. He was raised on very bad practices, but somehow wrote out of it with something like a moral compass. And he's being raised on this mistake with something that would kind of lead to him being programmed on that mistake for the rest of his life, and spend his last act becoming deprogrammed and trying to make up for the mistake that he was raised on. Now, aside for that, if you have a problem with George Washington because of how he was raised, yes, he was raised on mistakes, but he did a lot of good as well, so I'm going to tell you about the good as well. So he was grown up on a plantation in Virginia. He was a farmer, joined the British Army, and was a loyal British soldier in the army during the French and Indian War. Then, after the French and Indian War happened, there was a fallout between the colonies and Mother England. There was taxation, intense stuff going on there, stamp acts, and so forth. But a lot of the boycotts and a lot of the protests of the Sons of Liberty was not in his colony. It was in Massachusetts. He was in Virginia. So he was not experiencing any of these things. But also, Washington did not believe in damaging private property. He did not support that concept at all. When he started taking part in it was in 1774, when Washington was sent to Philadelphia for the First Continental Congress, where delegates from 12 of the 13 colonies met there. They had been pressured by local groups to convene, discuss the issues with Mother England. And while there were some sentiments of independence, or we should stay loyal, etc. and so forth, what happened there was mostly about their trying to simply repeal the Intolerable Acts. They said in Britain, we literally will, if you please ask you, repeal the Intolerable Acts, and we will not boycott any British goods. We will not do that. It was about trying to go for a compromise there and try to, settle the issues, kind of calm the problem, not trying to resort to radical, drastic action. This is what Washington was doing. He was a part of a Congress that was trying to resolve the problem before any revolution did escalate. That's what it's all about, de-escalating the issue. That's what happened. So boom, 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 didn't work out. Year later, 1775, the war happens by shot heard around the world in Massachusetts. So now we're all drawn into this. Now Washington was chosen and appointed, not asked, appointed to be the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. And here's what he said. George Washington was appointed commander-in-chief. I'm going to read you a quote about it. When he was appointed it, he never asked to do it. He did not ask it. He expressed a sense of personal inadequacy and doubt about his ability to handle the immense responsibility, stating that he did not believe himself equal to the command due to his perceived lack of sufficient military experience. Despite accepting the position, he did it out of a sense of duty to his country. He did not do it out of ambition. He did it as a civic duty to his country. And he privately considered the task to be overwhelming and beyond his capabilities. He did not thirst for power. He simply agreed to be commander-in-chief out of a civic duty to his country. He was appointed it. That's all it was, and he simply accepted out of duty. Bing, bang, boom. That's what happens. And then while he's going off as commander-in-chief, the Second Continental Congress convened and sent a list of grievances to the king because they knew the real problem was not the king, it was Parliament doing all this. And it was called the Olive Branch to the king saying, hey, we'll pledge allegiance back to you. Please help us out and speak to Parliament on our behalf. And the king did not respond. So the war continued. That's the real answer. The war continues, and the war eventually was won by a lot of nationals, George Washington leading a ragtag army of literally unprofessionals until foreign assistance came to give us help. The Revolutionary War was a war fought and won by nationals and immigrants. And George Washington was not upset by this because when you think about it, what is America but a nation founded on illegal immigrants? Yes, white nationalists, your ancestors mostly almost all of them were illegal immigrants because the Native Americans or the American Indians did not invite us here. We are illegal immigrants, descended from illegal immigrants, either by choice or by force. There you have it. Bang, bang, boom. Boom. Yes. Then eventually the war is over. Washington has won the war. He is told to asked to be the king. He turned it down, saying, we literally walked away from a dictatorship. Why are we going to walk back to it? So he turned down being the king. He resigned his commission and became a citizen of the United States. But now we need a leader. So he was asked to be the leader. Didn't thirst for power. He was asked to be the leader. And he came forward to do it as a civic duty. He said, I'm not going to be a king or a dictator. I'm going to be a president. End of story. And when he stepped down peacefully stepped down, setting a precedent for all presidents, he gave a farewell address to the American people. In George Washington's farewell address to the people of the United States, I'm going to read to you a section of the farewell address where he addresses the dangers of parties using their ambitions for bad ends. He said to you, I have already intimated to you the danger of parties in the state. Let me now take a more comprehensive view and warn you in the most solemn manner against the baneful effects of the spirit of party generally. The alternate domination of one faction over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, natural to party dissension, which in different ages and countries has perpetrated the most horrid enormities, is itself a frightful despotism. But this leads at length to a more formal and permanent despotism, where the disorders and miseries which result gradually incline the minds of men to seek security and repose in the absolute power of an individual. And sooner or later, the chief of some prevailing faction, more able or more fortunate than his competitors, turns this disposition to the purposes of his own elevation on the ruins of public liberty. Then he lastly states, it serves always to distract the public councils and enfeeble the public administration. It agitates the community with ill-founded jealousies and false alarms, kindles the animosity of one part against another, and foments occasionally riot and insurrection. Don't believe me? It's right there. Oh my God, do you see it? Oh, look at that. It's right there. He literally, George Washington's last act as President of the United States was to warn the American people, beware of individuals like Donald Trump, and we now are in today. His last act as president was doing that. Last act as president. So yes, Sylvester Stallone, I am not happy to contradict you. I do because I have no choice. You cannot call Donald Trump the second George Washington because Donald Trump is the person that George Washington warned the American people about trusting. This is fact, not views. Fact. Fact.